alive. So,
Submerge the device in liquid, even partially.
this should be fun. I should probably leave for this, huh? This seems kind of dangerous. You guys can do this without me. Uh-oh. Oh. Let's do it. Yeah.
Be gone, thought.
Hello. Is there grapefruit in real life? Yeah, it's me. I'm that. How should... Oh, this is... this is kind of amazing and kind of dumb. Are you guys ready for this? Oh man. What a great ending. Alright, we're not done though. That's it.
Lately when we talk, we get confused, so I choose to stay quiet for fear of hurting you. For fear of losing you, and I both know that. Lately when we talk, we get confused, so I choose to stay quiet for fear of hurting you. For fear of losing you, and I both know that.
It's been forever.
We may have grown apart, but we have grown nonetheless, and we can start again. And then, at last, we can be genuine.
I think she may need a little more time. Yeah.
You and I both know that.
How come we didn't spend more time together? And why didn't we just talk to each other more? Why didn't we?
You and I both know that
Didn't we?
we can start again. both know that. What do I give? How do I live in this life of ours? All I know is that I take plenty from here under the stars. I won't revive, I won't relive. I accept what I've done and I forgive. What do I give? How do I live in this life of ours? All I know is that I take plenty from here under the stars. I won't revive, I won't relive. I accept what I've done and I forgive. What do I give? How do I live in this life of ours? All I know is that I take plenty from here under the stars. I won't revive, I won't relive. I accept what I've done and I forgive. Nebulous days lead me to ravenous haze. Nebulous days lead me to ravenous haze, which will block my gaze. Illusory ways make feelings that don't stay. In and out they face. Is it always that? My tangible wishes are just out of reach. Nebulous days lead me to ravenous haze, which will block my gaze. Illusory ways make feelings that don't stay. In and out they face. Is it always that? My intangible wishes are just out of reach.
やれやれ。退屈だと言って何も行動せず、刺激を求める割には挑戦しない。
Feelings that don't stay. Feelings that don't stay. Feelings that don't stay.
いいかい、埼玉市。人生は当てのない旅だよ。新しい景色を見るためには自分で道を切り開くしかないんだ。
Is it always that? Is it always that? My intangible wishes are just out of reach. Are just out of reach. Is it always that? Is it always that? Join me for an adventure, oh, much like any other, with twists and turns and plot devices, words and wonder. Now my advice is listen close. What makes this story different is the teller and the told. This one's ours and it's waiting to unfold. So come be merry with me. Yeah. Oh, come be merry with me. Come on, be merry with me. Yeah. Join me for an adventure, oh, much like any other, with twists and turns and plot devices, words and wonder. Now my advice is listen close. What makes this story different is the teller and the told. This one's ours and it's waiting to unfold. Well. Hello! What's going on, guys? So many people here right at the start. That's freaking cool. Welcome. I'm Mary Mitch, and welcome to another edition of Perseus or Jacksonius and the Kitten's Purse. I'm looking forward to tonight and reading a little with you guys. Hope everybody's doing super duper dandy, and yeah, that's what's up. How's everybody doing? Yeah, Crambles, you got that right. Satoshi Kon was amazing. It still gets me to this day that he's gone. After just like one series, I think about 4 movies and 1 short, he still had so much more in him, dude. You're most welcome, Cole. One of my favorites. Favorite Christmas movie of all time, for sure. Tokyo Godfathers. Good stuff. Let's see, I'm doing mighty fine myself. I've had a good day, yeah. I got up, was able to laze around a bit, wake up, enjoy some good old YouTube shows and eat some granola and almond milk, and then I headed off to work, which was a darn blast. Got to hang out with my work buddy for most of the night. Shout outs to Sam. I think I saw you in chat earlier, so if you're here, dude, shout outs. I had a fun time. And it was good hanging with Sophia, Ben, Alice, Avery, and Mark, the kiddos that were in our group tonight or today. It was cool to run around and do non-contact activities. Yeah, dude, it was a sweet time. I got back, I showered up, so I could feel refreshed, ate some dinner, and now, lo and behold, I am here. Also, I know I said it in chat, but hey, Cade, dude, do your best. I know you can do it, and just know I'm in your court over here, man, cheering you on. And I thank you just ever so much for the hard work that you put in. And whatever hard work you've put in so far, and whatever hard work that's going to be put in going forward. Thank you. Big shout outs to Cade, our dungeon master. Mononoke or Nausicaa? Yeah, man, Mononoke was so good. I can't believe it took me so long to watch. Or so long to get to watch it. I saw Nausicaa before I did Mononoke. Nausicaa is so cool. I just love the... I don't know, like the world of Nausicaa. It's so sick with like the air gliders and the giant insects. It's wacky, and I love it. Well, actually, Michimu, there is a bit I could get your opinion on for in the D&D chat. Gotcha. Nice, I'll look at that. If you can, remind me at the end. I don't imagine I'll forget, but just in case. I'd appreciate it. Yeah, man, anytime you need. Even if you want to chat a little bit about it afterwards.
I don't know. Is it something that I can just reply to in text, or would it be better to chat it out? Yeah, yeah. In the fantasy nights, Fantasy Friday. That starting the intro theme, or the sorry, the not the intro theme. The starting screen has a gif from Nausicaa, of Nausicaa zooming around off screen and back into screen on her little air glider. Yeah, heck yeah. You're always down to hear my dulcet tones. Well, I am happy to provide. Also, Nausicaa would... Oh, Nausicaa's world is great, but that's... Hang on, gotta read it over here. Also, the Nausicaa world is great, but that's big in part... that's due mostly in part to the big in-depth backstory and world already created prior to the anime movie, since it was like a manga or LN before that. I had no idea. Shoot. What does LN stand for? I know what a manga is, but don't know what LN is. You just watched Nausicaa today? Congratulations. That's a really good movie to choose. I feel like Nausicaa was one of those where, like, I mean, it's similar to all Ghibli films, you know, or most Ghibli films, where it takes me a while to, like, actually go and choose them, like, to watch. But if I do go and choose a Ghibli film to watch, I know I'm in for a good time. Oh, light novel. Gotcha. Man, so the world was already developed before Nausicaa was created. That's a really neat fun fact, man. I had no idea. Was it the first one from Studio Ghibli? No way. Another one I want to revisit is Lupin. Lupin the Third. Well, guys, where we last left off in Jersey Paxson and the Kitten's Curse, a fair amount of stuff happened in only 2 short chapters. Percy wound up following the gang of adventurers that had been sent off on a grand quest to save Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. But one of their members was came down with something due to a trick played by the 2 twins in charge of the Hermes cabin. But they went without her because they had to go, and there was no time to choose another to go with them. But Percy decided, hey, I'm gonna go follow him. So he did, but in following them, he wound up in a mall of sorts. And in that mall was the Air and Space Museum. He saw his friends go in there, Thalia, Zoe, Bianca, and Grover. He saw them all walk in, but he also noticed that somebody was following them. And that somebody just so happened to be, Mr. Thorn. Our beloved French accented chimera. Or sorry, manticore. Pardon me. Manticore. But he didn't actually follow them into the Air and Space Museum. He instead took a different route. Across the mall and into, I believe it was the National History Museum. Yeah, I think so. It was a different museum. And in there, was a meeting of horrible, horrible people. One of which is the main bad guy, I believe, known simply as the General at the moment. A beast of a man that appears to be made of stone, or seemingly moves as such, with that gravelly texture to his skin, and a fine suit to boot. He was having a meeting along with Mr. Thorne and Luke about Thalia, Bianca, Zoe, and Grover being right across from them. After a little mishap in the creation of the things that would pursue our heroes, the things were in fact created, and just before the creatures, these skeletal ghouls, got the scent of our band of heroes, Percy, with his invisibility cap on that he got from Annabeth, or that he kept from Annabeth, he nabbed the little piece of cloth that they had torn from Thalia or somebody in that group. But in doing so, the ghouls got his scent instead. So he rushed, after he did this and made himself known, he rushed back over to the Air and Space Museum to warn our band of heroes. They were very surprised to see him, had collectively decided, hey, Percy, you shouldn't be here. But regardless, it wound up being good that he was there, because the Nemean lion was approaching them, ready to pounce and kill them. The Nemean lion being a gigantic lion from myth, whose fur is indestructible. So they managed to find a way to defeat this beast by throwing space food into his gullet, and then shooting arrows into its mouth. But where we last left off, the ghouls are standing right outside, about to enter the Space Museum and attack our heroes. So, will they get out in time? Is there anything that can stop these ghouls? Why does Zoe seem so freaked out about the General's presence here in the mall? Let's find out. Oh. Hang on, let me type in chat. Done with recap. Hey, yeah, again, sorry about that, May. I know that you're further back in the books, and I wish you could be right here with us as we continue to read, but heck yeah. And yeah, that was a pretty in-depth recap. Hey, also, I'm proud of that recap. I feel like I really fibbed the last one since it had been a while since we had read. But this one, I think I did a heckin' good job. But with that, I think we're about to jump right into the reading, so you may want to mute the stream lest you be spoiled, lest the story be spoiled for you. But is everybody else ready to go? Settle in your seats and get ready for story time with Mary Mitch. After all, this one's ours, and it is in fact waiting to unfold. This is Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. Read by Mary Mitch. 11. Grover gets a Lamborghini. We were crossing the Potomac when we spotted the helicopter. It was sleek, black, military model, just like the one we'd seen at Westover Hall. and it was coming straight towards us. "They know the van," I said. "We have to ditch it." Zoe swerved into the fast lane. The helicopter was gaining. "Maybe the military will shoot it down," Grover said hopefully. "The military probably thinks it's one of theirs," I said. "How can the general use mortals anyways?" "Mercenaries," Zoe said bitterly. "It is distasteful, but many mortals will fight for any cause as long as they are paid." "But don't these mortals see who they're working for?" I asked. "Don't they notice all the monsters around them?" Zoe shook her head. "I do not know how much they see through the mist. I doubt it would matter to them if they knew the truth. Sometimes mortals can be more horrible than monsters." The helicopter kept coming, making a lot better time than we were through DC traffic. Thalia closed her eyes and prayed hard. "Hey, Dad, a lightning bolt would be nice right about now. Please?" But the sky stayed gray and snowy. No sign of a helpful thunderstorm. "There," Bianca said. "That parking lot." "We'll be trapped," Zoe said. "Trust me," Bianca said. Zoe shot across 2 lanes of traffic and into a mall parking lot on the south bank of a river. We left the van and followed Bianca down some steps. "Subway entrance," Bianca said. "Let's go south. Alexandria." "Anything, Thalia agreed. We bought tickets and got through the turnstiles, looking behind us for any signs of pursuit. "Hey, see ya, May." A few minutes later, we were safely aboard a southbound train, riding away from DC as our train came above ground. We could see the helicopter circling the parking lot, but it didn't come after us. Grover let out a sigh. "Ah, nice job, Bianca. Thinking of a subway." Bianca looked pleased. "Yeah, well, I saw that station when Nico and I came through last summer. I remember being really surprised to see it, because it wasn't here when we used to live in DC." Grover frowned. "New? But that station looked really old." "I guess," Bianca said. "But trust me, when we lived here as little kids, there was no subway." Thalia sat forward. "Wait a minute. No subway at all?" Bianca nodded. Now, I knew nothing about DC, but I didn't see how the whole subway system could be less than 12 years old. I guess everyone else was thinking the same thing, because they looked pretty confused. "Bianca," Zoe said, "how long ago—" Her voice faltered. The sound of the helicopter was getting louder again. "We need to change trains," I said. "Next station." Over the next half hour, all we thought about was getting away safely. We changed trains twice. I had no idea where we were going, but after a while, we lost the helicopter. Unfortunately, when we finally got off the train, we found ourselves at the end of the line, in an industrial area, with nothing but warehouses and railway tracks. And snow. Lots of snow. It seemed much colder here. I was glad for my new lion's fur coat. We wandered through the railway yard, thinking there might be another passenger train somewhere, but there were just rows and rows of freight cars, most of which were covered in snow, like they hadn't moved in years. A homeless guy was standing at a trash can fire. He must have looked pretty pathetic, because he gave us a toothless grin and said, "Y'all need to get warmed up? Come on over. Come on." We huddled around his fire. Thalia's teeth were chattering. She said, "Well, this is great." "My hooves are frozen," Grover complained. "Feet," I corrected, for the sake of the homeless guy. "Maybe we should contact camp," Bianca said. "Chiron..." "No," Zoe said. "It cannot help us anymore. We must finish this quest ourselves." I gazed miserably around the rail yard. Somewhere, far to the west, Annabeth was in danger. Artemis was in chains. A doomsday monster was on the loose. And we were stuck on the outskirts of DC, sharing a homeless person's fire. "You know," the homeless man said, "you're never completely without friends." His face was grimy and his beard tangled, but his expression seemed kindly. "You kids need a train going west?" "Yes, sir," I said. "You know of any?" He pointed one greasy hand. Suddenly, I noticed a freight train, gleaming and free of snow. It was one of those automobile carrier trains, with steel mesh curtains and a triple deck of cars inside. The side of the freight train said, "Sun West Line." "That's convenient," Thalia said. "Thanks, She turned to the homeless guy, but he was gone. The trash can in front of us was cold and empty, as if he'd taken the flames with him. An hour later, we were rumbling west. There was no problem about who would drive now, because we all got our own luxury car. Zoe and Bianca were crashed out in a Lexus on the top deck. Grover was playing race car driver behind the wheel of a Lamborghini. And Thalia had hot-wired the radio in a black Mercedes SLK so she could pick up the alt-rock stations from DC. "Join ya?" I asked her. She shrugged, so I climbed into the shotgun seat. The radio was playing the White Stripes. I knew the song because it was one of the only CDs I owned that my mom liked. She said it reminded her of Led Zeppelin. Thinking about my mom made me sad, because it didn't seem likely I'd be home for Christmas. I might not live that long. "Nice coat," Thalia told me. I pulled the brown duster around me, thankful for the warmth. "Yeah, but the Nemean lion wasn't the monster we're looking for. Not even close. We've got a long way to go. Whatever this mystery monster is, the general said it would come for you. They wanted to isolate you from the group, so the monster will appear and battle you one-on-one." "He said that?" "Well, something like that, yeah." "That's great. I love being used as bait." "No idea what the monster might be." She shook her head morosely. "But you know where we're going, don't you?" "San Francisco. That's where Artemis was heading." I remembered something Annabeth had said at the dance. How her dad was moving to San Francisco. There was no way she could go. Half-bloods couldn't live there. Why? I asked. What's so bad about San Francisco? The mist is really thick there because the mountain of despair is so near. Titan magic, what's left of it, still lingers. Monsters are attracted to that area like you wouldn't believe. What's the Mountain of Despair? Thalia raised an eyebrow. You really don't know? Ask stupid Zoe. She's the expert. She glared out the windshield. I wanted to ask her what she was talking about, but I also didn't want to sound like an idiot. I hated feeling like Thalia knew more than I did, so I kept my mouth shut. The afternoon sun shone through the steel mesh side of the freight car, casting a shadow across Thalia's face. I thought about how different she was from Zoe. Zoe, all formal and aloof, like a princess. Thalia, with her ratty clothes and her rebel attitude. But there was something similar about them too. The same kind of toughness. Right now, sitting in the shadows with a gloomy expression, Thalia looked a lot like one of the hunters. Then suddenly it hit me. That's why you don't get along with Zoe. Thalia frowned. What? The hunters tried to recruit you, I guessed. Her eyes got dangerously bright. I thought she was going to zap me out of the Mercedes, but she just sighed. I almost joined them, she admitted. Luke, Annabeth, and I ran into them once, and Zoe tried to convince me. She almost did, but... But? Thalia's fingers gripped the wheel. I would have had to leave Luke. Oh. Zoe and I got into a fight. She told me I was being stupid. She said I'd regret my choice. She said Luke would let me down someday. I watched the sun through the metal curtain. We seemed to be traveling faster each second, shadows flickering like an old movie projector. That's harsh, I said. Hard to admit Zoe was right. She wasn't right! Luke never let me down. Never. We'll have to fight him, I said. There's no way around it. Thalia didn't answer. You haven't seen him lately, I warned. I know it's hard to believe, but I'll do what I have to. Even if that means killing him. Do me a favor, she said. Get out of my car. I felt so bad for her, I didn't argue. As I was about to leave, she said, Percy. When I looked back, her eyes were red, but I couldn't tell if it was from anger or sadness. Annabeth wanted to join the hunters too. Maybe you should think about why. Before I could respond, she raised the power windows and shut me out. I sat in the driver's seat of Grover's Lamborghini. Grover was asleep in the back. He'd finally given up trying to impress Zoe and Bianca with his pipe music after he played Poison Ivy and caused that very stuff to sprout from their Lexus's air conditioner. As I watched the sun go down, I thought of Annabeth. I was afraid to go to sleep. I was worried what I might dream. Oh, don't be afraid of dreams, a voice said right next to me. I looked over. Somehow, I wasn't surprised to find the homeless guy from the rail yard sitting in the shotgun seat. His jeans were so worn out, they were almost white. His coat was ripped, with stuffing coming out. He looked kind of like a teddy bear that had been run over by a truck. "If it weren't for dreams," he said, "I wouldn't know half the things I know about the future. They're better than Olympus tabloids." He cleared his throat, then held up his hands dramatically. "Dreams like a podcast, downloading truth in my ears. They tell me cool stuff." Apollo? I guessed, because I figured nobody else could make a haiku that bad. He put his fingers to his lips. "I'm incognito. Call me, Fred." A god named Fred? Well, Zeus insists on, certain rules. Hands off when there's a human quest. Even when something really major is wrong. But nobody messes with my baby sister. Nobody. Can you help us then? Shh. I already have. Haven't you been looking outside? The train? How fast are we moving? Apollo chuckled. Fast enough. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. It's almost sunset. But I imagine we'll get you across a good chunk of America at least. But where's Artemis? His face darkened. I know a lot. I see a lot. But even I don't know that. She's, clouded from me. I don't like it. And Annabeth? He frowned. Oh, you mean that girl you lost? I don't know. I tried not to feel mad. I knew the gods had a hard time taking mortals seriously, even half-bloods. We lived such short lives compared to the gods. What about the monster Artemis was seeking? I asked. Do you know what it said? Nope, Apollo said. But there is one who might. If you haven't yet found the monster when you reach San Francisco, seek out Nereus, the old man of the sea. He has a long memory and a sharp eye. He has the gift of knowledge, sometimes kept obscure from my oracle. But it's your oracle, I protested. Can't you tell us what the prophecy means? Apollo sighed. You might as well ask an artist to explain his art. Or ask a poet to explain his poem. It defeats the purpose. The meaning is only clear through the search. In other words, you don't know. Apollo checked his watch. Oh, look at the time. I've got to run. I doubt I can risk helping you again, Percy. But remember what I said? Get some sleep, and when I return, I expect a good haiku about your journey. I wanted to protest that I wasn't tired, and I'd never made up a haiku in my life. But Apollo snapped his fingers, and the next thing I knew, I was closing my eyes. In my dream, I was somebody else. I was wearing an old-fashioned Greek tunic, which was a little too breezy downstairs, and laced leather sandals. The Nemean lion skin was wrapped around my back like a cape. And I was running somewhere, being pulled along by a girl who was tightly gripping my hand. "Hurry!" she said. It was too dark to see her face clearly, but I could hear the fear in her voice. "He will find us!" It was nighttime. A million stars blazed above. We were running through tall grass, and the scent of 1,000 different flowers made the air intoxicating. It was a beautiful garden, and yet the girl was leading me through it as if we were about to die. My apologies. My roommate is gonna be, saging the house. So, in a little bit, there's gonna be a knock at the door. We're gonna pause wherever we are, so that she can come in and do the sage thing. It'll be a very short interruption. We'll go to the BRB screen, for a very short bit, but I just want to make sure you guys know. Yeah, saging. That'd be nice. You guys know sage, right? Burning sage. It's meant to cleanse the air in the area. I think the deal is that it's important to get the four corners of each room in the house. So yeah, I think it'll be cool. And from what I remember, I like the smell of sage. So, yeah. Just so you guys know, we might be pausing in just a sec. "I'm not afraid," I tried to tell her. "You should be," she said, pulling me along. She had long dark hair braided down her back. Her silk robes glowed faintly in the starlight. We raced up the side of the hill. She pulled me behind a thorn bush, and we collapsed, both breathing heavily. I didn't know why the girl was scared. The garden seemed so peaceful, and I felt strong, stronger than I'd ever felt before. "There's no need to run," I told her. My voice sounded deeper, much more confident. "I've bested 1,000 monsters with my bare hands." "Not this one," the girl said. "Layden is too strong. You must go around, up the mountain to my father. It is the only way." "It is the only way." The hurt in her voice surprised me. She was really concerned, almost like she cared about me. "I don't trust your father," I said. "You should not," the girl agreed. "You will have to trick him. But you cannot take the prize directly. You will die." I chuckled. "Then why don't you help me, pretty one? Then why don't you help me, pretty one?" I'm afraid. Layden will stop me. My sisters, if they found out, they would disown me." "Then there's nothing for it." I stood up, rubbing my hands together. "Wait!" the girl said. She seemed to be agonizing over a decision. Then her fingers trembled. She reached up and plucked a long white brooch from her hair. "If you must fight, Take this. My mother, Leone, gave it to me. She was a daughter of the ocean, and the ocean's power is within it. My immortal power. The girl breathed on the pin, and it glowed faintly. It gleamed in the starlight like polished abalone. Take it, she told me, and make of it a weapon. I laughed. A hairpin. How will this slay laden, pretty one? It may not, she admitted, but it is all I can offer. If you insist on being stubborn. The girl's voice softened my heart. I reached down and took the hairpin, and as I did, it grew longer and heavier in my hand, until I held a familiar bronze sword. Well balanced, I said, though I usually prefer to use my bare hands. What shall I name this blade? Oneclusmos, the girl said sadly. The current that takes one by surprise. And before you know it, you have been swept out to sea. Before I could thank her, there was a trampling sound in the grass, a hiss like air escaping a tire, and the girl said, Too late! He is here! Wraith of the Clouds. What do you mean by that, Eddie? Oh, alright. Incoming sage, guys. We'll be right back. This ought to only take a moment, so sit tight. Alright, and we are back. Welcome again. Thank you guys for being patient. Smells all sagey. good stuff. Alright. Where were we? Sorry, didn't notice I had acquired a cat as well. Harry wanted out though. I sat bolt upright in the Lamborghini's driver's seat. Grover was shaking my arm. "Percy," he said, "it's morning. The train stopped. Come on." I tried to shake off my drowsiness. Thalia, Zoe, and Bianca had already rolled up the metal curtains. Outside were snowy mountains dotted with pine trees. The sun rising red between two peaks. I fished my pen out of my pocket and stared at it. Anaklusmos, the ancient Greek name for riptide. A different form, but I was sure it was the same blade. The same blade I'd seen in my dream. And I was sure of something else, too. The girl I had seen was Zoe Nightshade. What? What? Zoe Nightshade? Say what? Snap. Wonder who the guy was. And apparently Zoe Nightshade had an immortal power before the hunters? What the heck is up? I think there's much more to Zoe than we currently know. Hey, yeah. We're taking a little break in between chapters. Chatting it up. Hey, I'm glad you showed up during the break. Snap. That's cool. I thought you were done for the night, but hey, it's really cool to see you again, May. That was a good chapter. Also, the whole Apollo appearing as the old homeless dude. So good. So good. Sorry, man. This is normally when I like chat about the chapter we just read, though. There might be spoilers, though. I guess unless we want to chat about something else. Man. May, you dedicated. That's something I respect. But yeah, did anyone else think of the Polar Express? Anyone? Was that just me? With like the old, or like the gritty homeless dude that actually turns out to be like a sage or some kind of ghost, or you know, kind of along those lines. Also, I definitely forgot that was Apollo. I probably would have given him like a voice that was more similar to his own, just like a disguised version. But I guess since he's a god, he can switch his voice into a hooey kind of voice if he wants. Look, your streams are rad. Ah, my streams are rad, so they deserve it. Thank you, May. I think they're pretty rad too. Uh-oh. Dude, there's so many different editions of Krampus. Now, with smiley face and 2 exclamation points. Nice. That was such a cool chapter. I don't know, just the whole. I think the whole Apollo being an old, an old homeless dude really made it for me. Honestly, just Apollo appearing again in general was a nice thing. So far, his voice is one of my favorites that I've done. Something about just like the getting to be like over dramatic and hello, it is I, and throw in like a little bit of crunk from Emperor's New Groove. Good stuff. Good stuff. Honestly, Crunk from Emperor's New Groove. I could probably see him as a role model for me, you know? That voice actor. I mean, come on. I'm starting to run out of ideas about how to write Krampus. I mean, at this point, you could just start doing it like usernames, where you do Krampus1, Krampus11, Krampus111, Krampus12, Krampus122, Krampus12, or Krampus222. Dude, there's the bajillion combinations. Even if you want to work it with like symbols, start throwing some question marks in there, an at sign. Do Krampus, but the A is an at sign. Try it with elite speech. Oh boy. Oh man. Coleman, you gotta be on it. You were on that one. I see he's got his mouse ready and rearing. Nice. And hey, sick. We're right on schedule too. Hitting the hour mark for the first chapter. Krampus with a 4. Oh boy. I still don't understand why it considers Krampus a bad word. Unless I've literally been saying Krampus this whole time and it actually is some like crazy bigoted word or something. I hope not. Good lord, I hope not. Cup is big. Look. Big cup. Oh, you can actually see the webcam a little bit in the reflection. I'm drinking some tea. The same tea that I've been having each night so far. It's that sleepy time jasmine tea. Good stuff. What about terrible rad word? It's terribly rad, dude. Terribly rad, dude. Krampus is just terribly rad. I mean, Krampus is one of those words that I think the world just wasn't ready for, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I like to have a bunch of tea. After all, I try to make it last through the stream. The raddest. The raddest. I'd love to say Krampus on TV. It's gonna be that guy who like runs it. You know that meme where the dude runs into the camera lady, steals her microphone, and says the infamous phrase. But this time, he's just gonna grab it and say, "Krample, krample, 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 kramples, krampledy, krample, cramp." The whole world will be shocked and stunned in their very couches. And it would make my night. I'd be sitting there like, yes, it's finally happened. That'd be you? Heck yeah. Especially if it was May. I'd be like, dude, this is the day I've been waiting for. At long last. I know the best I can do is just say it live on Twitch. Isn't quite as cool. What, you mean crample? Cramps? Cramplin', crampledy cramp. Boom. Take that, old man. You know nothing. You know nothing about this day and age. Reminds me of that friggin' SpongeBob episode with where Mr. Krabs is trying to understand the hip and cool lingo. What was it? Kelp? Kelp came into fashion or something? That's so kelp. Was that what it was? Help me remember. That's so kelpy. Kelp and cool. I'm a big fan of like coming up with my own stuff to say, like in regards to, yeah, real Travis. You bet your bottom this stream is so kelp. It's the kelpiest of them all. Yeah, I remember when I was younger, a big one for me was cheese balls. Did you guys ever have those, like, those giant tubs that were, like, this big around? Oh. Like, this big around. And they were just full of cheese balls. Like, Cheeto texture, or like Cheetos Puff texture, but they were just balls. And there were a gazillion in one barrel. It was wild. But there was a solid, year where my brother, my sister, and we all just got on like a a cheese ball thing. It was something else. Oh yeah, man. Because I know, like, especially growing up, there was no way we were allowed to curse in front of my parents, nor even outside of my parents, because, you know, they taught us, like, they weren't just like hey, like, swearing's bad and I'm not gonna explain why or anything. It was more just like, hey, you know, we don't swear, we don't use swear words, and here's the reason why we don't. And we think that, hey, maybe you guys would feel the same. Which I think was just a rad parenting technique. Props to my dad and mom. But yeah, it brought us to try to be more creative and junk. We had cheese balls, but not that big. Sounds like one of America's many triple max sizes. They are, aren't they? Yeah, I think it came from Costco, I'm pretty sure. I'm not kidding. It was like at least as big as the screen here. Like if I had brought it in to this stream, it would be as big as the screen. As my little box here. Whoop, 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 whoop. It's actually harder to do than I imagined. Outline my box. Nice. Nice. You've had one of those? Oh yeah, dude. Costco, big old barrel of cheese balls. You're in for a night. You're in for a night worth remembering. My brother hit me on the head with an empty jar Gave me a bump. Yikes, dude. That does seem like something Cade would do. Was that yesterday? Was that this week? Because, I mean, to be honest, even if it was, I'm not sure I'd be too surprised. Heck yeah. Alright, we're about 12 minutes past the hour, so I think it may be time to delve into the next chapter. It's probably a dispute over the cheese balls. You were like, Cade, cheese balls are not as good as you think they are. Cade was like, what did you just say to me? Give me that cheese balls container right now. And you were like, what? Why ever do you want this cheese ball container? Yeah. Boom. Bump on your head. And it's your own dang fault. Sorry, that's probably not how it played out. Alright. You were about 10? It's weird that you have such a vivid memory of it though. Yeah, the big red freaking throbbing thumb like a cartoon. Those things were like, now that I think about it, why did those things never make me feel uncomfortable? I mean, they're huge. No, I feel like they definitely did. Especially when, dude, okay, do you guys know the ones where it would just like grow from the top of their head whoop, to like a point, like a rounded point, and there would be little hairs sticking off of them? Why? You guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. That was not okay. Like, I was fine if it was just like a glowing, like, rounded bump. That was at least relatively okay. But I don't remember what cartoon it was from, but there was one that kept on, like, whenever they'd be bonked on the head, yeah, their head would just create this, this, like, freaking cone tumor that just rises from the middle of their head. Yeah, I guess, yeah, it would be even more disturbing if it if they replicated it in like realistic CG graphics. Ooh. That would be a project, dude. You're looking like an ice cream cone. Oh no. What's up, DS Go? What's shaking, man? Talking about old cartoons. And now, dude, it's made me think about, like, what would happen if old cartoons were, if there was a project that set out to create old cartoons in realistic, like, CG, as realistic quality as possible, using real live actors, and did their best to recreate them, like, as thoroughly as possible. But any of those, like, gags and, like, those... Dude, I don't know. I feel like that would be a disturbing, very disturbing thing. Oh yeah, dude. Realistic everything. Oh. Gosh, even if... whenever Donald Duck gets freaking blasted by Elmer Fudd, it's just an actual gun. Oh no. And like, in the lore behind it is they just keep bringing Daffy Duck back to life over and over again. Oddly enough, it's kind of similar to the sci-fi story we read on Sunday. Right? I have no mouth and I must scream. Where he's just not allowed to die and is forced to just be in this inevitable forever torture. Oh yeah, that's not terrifying. Definitely not terrifying. Did you think it was terrifying? Yeah, no, me neither. Me neither. Heck yeah. Well, okay. Enough cheeseball roleplay and enough conceptualizing realistic cartoons. Let's go ahead and jump back into Jersey Paxson and the kitten's purse. Oh yeah, dude, it's derailing hardcore right now, so I'm gonna bring us back to the rails. Because it just so happens that Percy and his friends are actually on a railroad currently. Heckin' sick segue. Let's go. Okay. So, this is Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. Read by Mary Mitch. 12. I go snowboarding with a pig. We'd arrived on the outskirts of a little ski town nestled in the mountains. The sign said, "Welcome to Cloudcroft, New Mexico." The air was cold and thin. The roofs of the cabins were heaped with snow, and dirty mounds of it were piled up on the sides of the streets. Tall pine trees loomed over the valley, casting pitch-black shadows, though the morning was sunny. Even with my lion skin coat, I was freezing by the time we got to Main Street, which was about half a mile from the train tracks. As we walked, I told Grover about my conversation with Apollo the night before. How he'd told me to seek out Nereus in San Francisco. Grover looked uneasy. "That's good, I guess, but we've got to get there first." Right on. See you in a little while, May. I tried not to get too depressed about our chances. I didn't want to send Grover into a panic, but I knew we had another huge deadline looming, aside from saving Artemis in time for her Council of the Gods. The general had said Annabeth would only be kept alive until the winter solstice. That was Friday, only 4 days away. And he said something about a sacrifice. I didn't like the sound of that at all. We stopped in the middle of town. You could pretty much see everything from there. A school, a bunch of tourist stores and cafes, some ski cabins, and a grocery store. "Great," Dahlia said, looking around. "No bus station, no taxis, no rental cars, no way out." "There's a coffee shop," said Grover. "Yes," Zoe said. "Coffee is good." "And pastries," Grover said dreamily. "And wax paper." Oh. Dahlia sighed. "Fine. How about you two go get us some food? Percy, Bianca, and I will check the grocery store. Maybe they can give us directions." We agreed to meet back in front of the grocery store in 15 minutes. Bianca looked a little uncomfortable coming with us, but she did. Inside the store, we found out a few valuable things about Cloudcroft. There wasn't enough snow for skiing. The grocery store sold rubber rats for $1 each, and there was no easy way in or out of the town unless you had your own car. You could call for a taxi from Alamogordo, clerk said doubtfully. That's down at the bottom of the mountains, but it would take at least an hour to get here. Cost several $100s. The clerk looked so lonely. I decided to buy a rubber rat. Then we headed back outside and stood on the porch. Wonderful, Thalia grumped. I'm going to walk down the street. See if anybody in the other shops has a suggestion. But the clerk said, I know, she told me. I'm checking anyway. I let her go. I knew how it felt to be restless. All half-bloods had attention deficit problems because of our inborn battlefield reflexes. We couldn't stand just waiting around. Also, I had a feeling Thalia was still upset over our conversation last night about Luke. Bianca and I stood together awkwardly. I mean, I was never very comfortable talking one-on-one with girls anyway, and I'd never been alone with Bianca before. I wasn't sure what to say, especially now that she was a hunter and everything. Nice rat, she said at last. I set it on the porch railing. Maybe it would attract more business for the store. So, how do you like being a hunter so far? I asked. She pursed her lips. You're still mad at me for joining, aren't you? Nah. Long as, you're happy. I'm not sure happy is the right word, with Lady Artemis gone. But being a hunter is definitely cool. I feel calmer somehow. Everything seems to have slowed down around me. I guess that's the immortality. I stared at her, trying to see the difference. She didn't seem more confident than before. Or she did seem more confident than before. More at peace. She didn't hide her face under a green cap anymore. She kept her hair tied back. She looked right at me when she spoke. With a shiver, I realized that 500 or 1,000 years from now, Bianca D'Angelo would look exactly the same as she did today. She might be having a conversation like this with some other half-bloods long after I was dead. But Bianca would still look 12 years old. Nico didn't understand my decision, Bianca murmured. She looked at me like she wanted assurance that it was okay. He'll be alright, I said. Camp Half-Blood takes in a lot of young kids. They did that for Annabeth. Bianca nodded. I hope we find her. Annabeth, I mean. She's lucky to have a friend like you. A lot of good it did her. Don't blame yourself, Percy. You risked your life to save my brother and me. I mean, that was seriously brave. If I hadn't met you, I wouldn't have felt okay about leaving Nico at camp. I figured if there were people like you there, Nico would be fine. You're a good guy. The compliment took me by surprise. Even though I knocked you down and captured the flag? She laughed. Okay, except for that, you're a good guy. A couple 100 yards away, Grover and Zoe came out of the coffee shop, loaded down with pastry bags and drinks. I kind of didn't want them to come back yet. It was weird, but I realized I liked talking to Bianca. She wasn't so bad. A lot easier to hang out with than Zoe Nightshade, anyway. So, what's the story with you and Nico? I asked. Where did you go to school before Westover? She frowned. think it was a boarding school in D.C. It seemed like so long ago. You never lived with your parents? I mean, your mortal parent. We were told our parents were dead. There was a bank trust for us, a lot of money. I think a lawyer would come by once in a while to check on us. Then Nico and I had to leave that school. Why? She knit her eyebrows. We had to go somewhere. I remember it was important. We traveled a long way, and we stayed in this hotel for a few weeks, and then, I don't know. One day a different lawyer came to get us. He said it was time for us to leave. He drove us back east through D.C., then up into Maine, and we started going to Westover. It was a strange story. Then again, Bianca and Nico were half-bloods. Nothing would be normal for them. So you've been raising Nico pretty much all your life? I asked. Just the two of you? She nodded. That's why I wanted to join the Hunters so bad. I mean, I know it's selfish, but I wanted my own life and friends. I love Nico. Don't get me wrong. I just needed to find out what it would be like not to have to be a big sister 24 hours a day. I thought about last summer, the way I'd felt when I found out I had a Cyclops for a baby brother. I could relate to what Bianca was saying. Zoe seems to trust you, I said. What were you guys talking about, anyway? Something dangerous about the quest? When? Yesterday morning on the pavilion, I said before I could stop myself. Something about the general. Her face darkened. How did you... Invisibility hat. Were you eavesdropping? No, I mean, not really. I was saved from trying to explain when Zoe and Grover arrived with the drinks and pastries. Hot chocolate for Bianca and me, coffee for them. I got a blueberry muffin, and it was so good, I could almost ignore the outraged look Bianca was giving me. We should do the tracking spell, Zoe said. Grover, do you have any acorns left? Grover mumbled. He was chewing on a bran muffin, wrapper and all. I think so. I just need to... He froze. I was about to ask what was wrong when a warm breeze rustled past, like a gust of springtime had gotten lost in the middle of winter. Fresh air seasoned with wildflowers and sunshine. And something else. Almost like a voice trying to say something. A warning. Zoe gasped. Grover, thy cup! Grover dropped his coffee cup which was decorated with pictures of birds. Suddenly, the birds peeled off the cup and flew away. A tiny flock of tiny doves. A flock of tiny doves. My rubber rat squeaked. It scampered off the railing and into the trees. Real fur. Real whiskers. Grover collapsed next to his coffee, which steamed against the snow. We gathered around him and tried to wake him up. He groaned, his eyes fluttering. Hey, Thalia said, running up from the street. Hey, Thalia said, running up from the street. What's wrong with Grover? I don't know, I said. He collapsed. Grover groaned. Well, get him up, Thalia said. She had her spear in her hand. She looked behind her as if she were being followed. "We have to get out of here." We made it to the edge of town before the first two skeleton warriors appeared. They stepped from the trees on either side of the road. Instead of gray camouflage, they were now wearing blue New Mexico State Police uniforms. But they had the same transparent gray skin and yellow eyes. They threw their handguns. They drew their handguns. I'll admit, I used to think it would be kind of cool to learn how to shoot a gun, but I changed my mind as soon as the skeletal warriors pointed theirs at me. Thalia tapped her bracelet. Aegis spiraled to life on her arm, but the warriors didn't flinch. Their glowing yellow eyes bored right into me. I drew Riptide, though I wasn't sure what good it would do against guns. Zoe and Bianca drew their bows, but Bianca was having trouble because Grover kept swooning and leaning against her. "Back up," Thalia said. We started to, but then I heard a rustling of branches. Two more skeletons appeared on the road behind us. We were surrounded. I wondered where the other skeletons would be. I'd seen a dozen at the Smithsonian. Then one of the warriors raised a cell phone to its mouth and spoke into it. Except he wasn't speaking. He made a clattering, clicking sound, like dry teeth on bone. Suddenly I understood what was going on. The skeletons had split up to look for us. Skeletons were now calling their brethren. Soon, we'd have a full party on our hands. "It's near," Grover moaned. "It's here," I said. "No," he insisted. The gift from the wild." I didn't know what he was talking about. I was worried about his condition. He was in no shape to walk, much less fight. "We'll have to go one-on-one," Thalia said. "4 of them, 4 of us. Maybe they'll ignore Grover that way. "Agreed," said Zoe. "The wild," Grover moaned. A warm wind blew through the canyon, rustling the trees, but I kept my eyes on the skeletons. I remembered the general gloating over Annabeth's fate. I remembered the way Luke had betrayed her. And I charged. The first skeleton fired. Time slowed down. I won't say I could see the bullet, but I could feel its path. The same way I felt water currents in the ocean. I deflected it off the edge of my blade and kept charging. The skeleton drew a baton, and I sliced off his arm at the elbow. Then I swung Riptide through his waist and cut him in half. His bones unknit and clattered to the asphalt in a heap. Almost immediately, they began to move, reassembling themselves. The second skeleton clattered his teeth at me and tried to fire, but I knocked his gun into the snow. I thought I was doing pretty well, until the other 2 skeletons shot me in the back. "Percy!" Thalia screamed. I landed face down in the street. Then I realized something. I wasn't dead. The impact of the bullets had been dull, like a push from behind. But they hadn't hurt me. The Nemean lion's fur. My coat was bulletproof. Thalia charged the second skeleton. Zoe and Bianca started firing arrows at the third and fourth. Grover stood there and held his hands out to the tree, looking like he wanted to hug. looking like he wanted a hug. There was a crashing sound in the forest to our left, like a bulldozer. Maybe the skeleton's reinforcements were arriving. I got to my feet and ducked a police baton. The skeleton I'd cut in half was already fully reformed, coming after me. There was no way to stop them. Zoe and Bianca fired at their heads point blank, but the arrows just whistled straight through their empty skulls. One lunged at Bianca, and I thought she was a goner, but she whipped out her hunting knife and stabbed the warrior in the chest. The whole skeleton erupted into flames, leaving a little pile of ashes and a police badge. "How did you do that?" Zoe asked. "I don't know," Bianca said nervously. "Lucky stab?" "Well, do it again." Bianca tried, but the remaining 3 skeletons were wary of her now. They pressed us back, keeping us at baton's length. "Plan?" I said as we retreated. Nobody answered. The trees behind the skeletons were shivering. Branches were cracking. "A gift," Grover muttered. And then, with a mighty roar, the largest pig I'd ever seen came crashing into the road. It was a wild boar, 30 feet high, with a snotty pink snout and tusks the size of canoes. Its back bristled with brown hairs, and its eyes were wild and angry. It squealed and raked the 3 skeletons aside with its tusks. The force was so great, they went flying over the trees and into the side of the mountain, where they smashed to pieces. Thigh bones and arm bones twirling everywhere. Then the pig turned on us. Thalia raised her spear, but Grover yelled, "Don't kill it!" The boar grunted and pawed the ground, ready to charge. "That's the Erymanthian boar," Zoe said, trying to stay calm. "I don't think we can kill it." "It's a gift," Grover said. "A blessing from the wild." The boar said, and swung its tusks. Zoe and Bianca dived out of the way. I had to push Grover so he wouldn't get launched into the mountain on the Boar Tusk Express. "Yes, I feel blessed," I said. "Scatter!" We ran in different directions, and for a moment, the boar was confused. "It wants to kill us," Thalia said. "Of course," Grover said. "It's wild." "So, how is this a blessing?" Bianca asked. It seemed a fair question to me, but the pig was offended and charged her. She was faster than I'd realized. She rolled out of the way of the hooves and came up behind the beast. It lashed out with its tusks and pulverized the Welcome to Cloudcroft sign. I racked my brain, trying to remember the myth of the boar. I was pretty sure Hercules had fought this thing once, but I couldn't remember how he'd beaten it. I had a vague memory of the boar plowing down several Greek cities before Hercules managed to subdue it. I hoped Cloudcroft was insured against wild boar attacks. "Keep moving!" Zoe yelled. She and Bianca ran in opposite directions. Grover danced around the boar, playing his pipes while the boar snorted and tried to gouge him. But Thalia and I won the prize for bad luck. When the boar turned on us, Thalia made the mistake of raising Aegis in defense. The sight of the Medusa had made the boar squeal in outrage. Maybe it looked too much like one of his relatives. The boar charged us. We only managed to keep ahead of it because we ran uphill, and we could dodge in and out of trees while the boar had to plow through them. On the other side of the hill, I found an old stretch of train tracks, half buried in the snow. "This way!" I grabbed Thalia's arm, and we ran along the rails while the boar roared behind us, slipping and sliding as it tried to navigate the steep hillside. Its hooves just were not made for this. Thank the gods. Ahead of us, I saw a covered tunnel. Past that, an old trestle bridge spanning a gorge. I had a crazy idea. "Follow me!" Thalia slowed down. I didn't have time to ask why, but I pulled her along, and she reluctantly followed. Behind us, a 10-ton pig tank was knocking down pine trees and crushing boulders under its hooves as it chased us. Thalia and I ran into the tunnel and came out on the other side. "No!" Thalia screamed. She turned as white as ice. We were at the edge of the bridge. Below, the mountain dropped away into a snow-filled gorge, about 70 feet below. The boar was right behind us. "Come on," I said. "It'll hold our weight. Probably." "I can't!" Thalia yelled. Her eyes were wild with fear. The boar smashed into the covered tunnel, tearing through at full speed. "Now!" I yelled at Thalia. She looked down and swallowed. I swear she was turning green. I didn't have time to process. I didn't have time to process why. The boar was charging through the tunnel, straight towards us. Plan B. I tackled Thalia and sent us both sideways off the edge of the bridge into the side of the mountain. We slid on Aegis like a snowboard, over rocks, and mud and snow racing downhill. The bull was less fortunate. It couldn't turn that fast, so all 10 tons of the monster charged out onto the tiny trestle, which buckled under its weight. The boar free fell into the gorge with a mighty squeal and landed in a snowdrift with a huge poof. Thalia and I skidded to a stop. We were both breathing hard. I was cut up and bleeding. Thalia had pine needles in her hair. Next to us, the wild boar was squealing and struggling. All I could see was the bristly tip of its back. I was wedged completely in the snow, like styrofoam packing. I didn't seem to be hurt, but I wasn't going anywhere. I looked at Thalia. "You're afraid of heights." Now that we were safely down the mountain, her eyes had their usual angry look. "Don't be stupid." "That explains why you freaked out on Apollo's bus. Why didn't you want to talk about it?" She took a deep breath, and she brushed the pine needles out of her hair. "If you tell anyone, I swear." No, I said. "That's cool. It's just... the daughter of Zeus? The lord of the sky? Afraid of heights?" She was about to knock me into the snow when above us, Grover's voice called. "Hello! Down here!" I shouted. A few minutes later, Zoe, Bianca, and Grover joined us. We stood watching the wild boar struggle in the snow. "A blessing of the wild," Grover said. though he now looked agitated. Or a blessing of the wild. I agree, Zoe said. We must use it. Hold up, Thalia said irritably. She still looked like she'd just lost a fight with a Christmas tree. Explain to me why you're so sure this pig is a blessing? Grover looked over, distracted. It's our ride west. Do you have any idea how fast this boar can travel? Fun, I said. Like pig cowboys. Grover nodded. We need to get aboard. I wish I had more time to look around. But it's gone now. What's gone? Grover didn't seem to hear me. He walked over to the boar and jumped onto its back. Already the boar was starting to make some headway through the drift. Once it broke free, there'd be no stopping it. Grover took out his pipes. He started playing a sappy tune and tossed an apple in front of the boar. The apple floated and spun right above the boar's nose. And the boar went nuts, straining to get it. Automatic steering, Thalia grumbled. Great. She trudged over and jumped on behind Grover, which still left plenty of room for the rest of us. Zoe and Bianca walked toward the boar. Wait a second, I said. Do you two know what Grover is talking about? This wild blessing? Of course, Zoe said. Did you not feel it in the wind? It was so strong. I never thought I would sense that presence again. What presence? She stared at me like I was an idiot. The Lord of the Wild, of course. Just for a moment, in the arrival of the boar, I felt the presence of Pan. Say what? Say what? Well. First a giant lion. Now a giant boar. Goodness. I missed out on the stretch break. Blah blah blah. Sorry. Pardon my stretching. How's everybody feeling? The presence of Pan. Huh. No wonder it's killing Grover to get on the back of that boar. And something was revealed about Thalia. I forgot that was the case. I was trying to remember, like, if she was just afraid of driving. But no. She's afraid of heights. Huh. Interesting. Any of you guys out there afraid of heights? To the point where, you know, that fear factor kicks in and it immobilizes you. I'm trying to think if I have any fears that go that far. Not entirely sure. Heck yeah. Heights are sick, aren't they? Snap, dude. What? This next chapter is a doozy. At least lengthwise. I think it would take maybe like 30 more minutes or so. Maybe 45. Not entirely sure. I'm down to read one more. Even if we do read one more, I think we'll still be able to end by around 10, which is nice. I like to go till at least, like, I like to go for at least 2.5 hours anyways. So heck yeah, I do need myself a break though, so we're gonna jump over to the break screen. You'll get a chance to doze with Snoopy. And yeah, we'll be back with chapter 13. I know it says down below that it's only 11 and 12, but wound up scooting through those chapters quicker than I'd imagined we would. So it is currently about 16 past the hour. Oh yeah, break time! Break time! Let's go break time. Heck yeah. I'll play some music during the break if you wind up sticking around, but I encourage everyone, as I always do, to stand up during this break. Get your body moving. It's important after we're sitting at in our chairs, at our desks, or just sitting in general for a long time, like hours upon end. It's important that we get up at least sometimes, every once in a while, and stretch our bones and get our bodies moving and shaking. Do a little dance or something. At the very least, you know, take a walk down the hall or something. Regardless, though, even if you've done a lot today, at least stand up and stretch. Swing your arms around or something. Alright, cool beans. Okay, my wildflowers, I will be right back. So it's about 17 past the hour. I'll be back no later than 25 past the hour. Sound like a plan? It's a deal. Okay, I'll see you guys very soon for the 13th chapter of Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. Dang, we are moseying through this story, dude. We'll find out soon enough where this boar leads him. And why in the world did Pan bless them with such a gift? Seems like they're being helped out a lot on this one. It is a bit of a tougher quest after all. Alright, cool beans. I'll see you guys very soon. Much love, and be right back. Bazow.
didn't know. I thought I didn't know. I thought I didn't know. I thought I didn't know. I thought if she wouldn't have. I thought if she wouldn't have. I didn't know. I thought 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 I didn't know. I thought.
さあ有言しよう。いただきます。Preparations ready.さあ有言しよう。
Oh yeah. Guess who's here again? I bet you can't guess. It is I. Welcome back. Hope everybody's doing good. Yeah. That was a dandy little break. I was able to relieve myself, do some stretching, my body moving a smidge at least, and now I am back. Oh yeah. That is what is up. How's everybody else's break? Well, hey, good comment, good. Heck yeah. I'm glad you did, dude. Did you feel a difference at all? I don't know. Even if you don't feel the difference now, your body will thank you. I promise. Heck yeah, dude. It's just a good little practice, and honest to goodness, whenever I'm just kind of at my computer, just alone or just watching like a show or something, or playing a video game, I really don't think about it. I don't even consider it. Like, I'm grateful that I remember it and think about it when I'm streaming, but otherwise I don't really do it. But it's something that I feel would be really helpful. Something that I at least am glad that I can implement in the streams here. Hey gamer, what's good, Mr. Ninja Cat? How's the D&D prep going? I hope my what'd you call them? Something tones? My luscious tones? I forget what you said, but I hope my reading has been a good accompaniment. Dulcet tones. That's what it is. Dulcet. I like that word. Dulcet. I'm a fan of words that mean that kind of sound like what they mean, you know? You guys get that? I'm trying to think of other words that sound like that. Even something as simple as deep. Deep. That word, it reflects itself even in how it's meant to sound. It's so cool. I don't know. I really dig it when stuff when the English language does that. I'm a book guy after all, a words guy. But seriously, how's the prep going? It goes. That's the most important thing, dude. Keep it going. Right on. And again, I'm rooting for you, dude. Keep it up. Keep it up, up. Na 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 na. Up, up. Keep it up. Keep it up, up. Na 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 na. Sorry, it reminded me of a song. I've got like 2 ideas for 2 of the 6 ideas. What? And that's just the base ideas I needed. What? That sounds good, dude. I like when I have ideas for my ideas. They tend to add up and flourish within each other. I've got to do a whole like session planning for each idea. Snap, dude. I'm glad you're sticking to the ideas though. I find that for me, like it's important for me to hone in, because I've done D&D planning in the past. And if I just let my mind wander, Dude, I can get so off track. It'd make more sense if you checked the stuff in the chat. Oh, dude, sorry. Let me just go ahead and do that now. D&D. Well, this is a longer paragraph than I anticipated. I'll read it. Yeah, can I read it aloud, or is this something that I should not express on stream? A fatty idea. Oh yeah. What one might call a fatty idea. Oh snap. Huh. If you want to read it now, feel free to. So really like the idea. I really like the idea, but to get it to work, I need to plan out each mission, which means I've got to write the next like 6 missions by Thursday. Yeah, man. That's tough. I don't know if you need to give us that many options. Like three would probably be okay, right? I'm just hoping, cause as much as I dig the combat and whatnot, I am hoping that the the overarching plot and getting deeper into the characters and whatnot won't suffer because of it. You know what I mean? Like one thing that I really feel is essential in D&D planning and D&D campaigns is that the missions and whatnot drive forward either the overarching plot or a character's plot, you know? I like it when yeah, when the missions and what all happens in an episode of ours will either go deeper into, will reveal more about a character, or will go deeper into their past or bring something up from their past, or at least, yeah, kind of hints at something like from the overarching plot. I mean, this is literally just the prologue, and on top of that, not all the missions are related to combat. Ooh. Snizzity snap. I can get down with that. Right on, man. Yeah, and I guess there is something to the fact that until we get further into the campaign, we won't. I don't know if you'll entirely know exactly how to delve deeper into the characters' backstories and such. Ah, that's exactly what I had said. Nice. We're on the same wavelength. What? Same wavelength. My guy. That actually is really funny. I said that same thing just before you sent it in the chat. Good stuff. Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. To help us develop our characters a little bit further, and that way you can bring up stuff from our past and things that are revealed in the campaign. Yeah, once we get a little bit deeper into it. I get that. All right. Everybody ready? My energy is waning a little bit, so So I'm gonna go ahead and delve into this next chapter, and then we'll call it a night. Cool beans. So, this is Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. Read by Mary Mitch. "13. We visit the junkyard of the gods. We rode the boar until sunset, which was about as much as my back end could handle. Imagine riding a giant steel brush over a bed of gravel all day. That's about how comfortable boar riding was. I have no idea how many miles we covered, but the mountains faded into the distance, and were replaced by miles of flat, dry land. The grass and scrub brush got sparser until we were galloping. Do boars gallop? Across the desert. As night fell, the boar came to a stop at a creek bed and snorted. He started drinking the muddy water, then ripped a saguaro cactus out of the ground and chewed it, needles and all. Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
What's up?
Welcome. Shoot, dude. Hang on. Let me pause the reading for a minute to greet these goobers. Hello. Thank you for the raid. Goodness. Welcome, my beanie friends. We were just in the middle of, Sorry, there's a loud bang coming from my window. Or outside my window. Sorry, I don't know if you heard that or not. Heck yeah. So we were just getting started on the 13th chapter of Percy Jackson and the Kitten's Purse. Hello, Marvin. Hello. What's up, Rem? I've never been so pleased to be called a goober. Gotta be honest. Yeah, you guys are goobers. And you know it. Heck yeah, thanks everybody for coming by. How was the stream, Mobbin? Oh yeah. I feel like most of you guys know what I do here, but just in case, give you an idea of what all this is. In an effort to practice my voice acting, I read books on stream. On Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at least, we've been covering the Percy Jackson series. And that's what's happening right now. Good, but Outer Wilds really wore me out today. Don't know why. Lol. Yeah, man, I get that. Was chat just really active, or was it just an intense game and sesh? I do know there's a fair amount of puzzles in that one, right? Like, it can be a pretty brain-hurty game, I think. I don't know all that much about Outer Wilds, but from the little I've seen, I feel like it can get a little brain-hurty sometimes. A lot to process, and it just exhausted me. Oh man, I get that, dude. I'm feeling a little worn out myself. We've been streaming for a little while now. Gotta be fast, because there's a time limit. Wait, for Outer Wilds? Well, yeah. Heck yeah, dude. I just hope everybody's doing well. Is that fireworks? You guys hear that popping sound? I had my window slightly cracked because I was enjoying the ambience of the night with like the crickets chirping and the frogs singing. But I don't know if they're gonna be doing fireworks. I gotta go close that window. Yeah, you're stuck in a time loop, and the sun goes supernova every 22 minutes. Oh, snap. Shoot. All right. Give me a second. Let me go close it. Yeah. Jump, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. And success. And, well, it does sound like an intense gaming session. Is it 22 actual minutes? Or is it like Mario time? Like the Mario timer? I imagine it would be actual minutes, right? I think. What? Excuse me? Remdog? Remdog? Excuse me? You single-handedly bumped up my Doggle by like a solid... like all the way up to 35%. Good lord. But... Oh god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Whoa. Remdog. You're freaking awesome. But in all seriousness, thank you. Thank you, Remdog. That's freaking wild. You... You scoundrel. You rapscallion. Oh, goodness. That's too perfect. Oh, goodness. No, nobody else can donate. Gotta keep it at $69.69. Ooh. Good lord. Hey, Impulse, welcome. Shucks, dude. I try to look pretty. I think I'm in need of a haircut. You guys are seeing me like no hair gel right now. I don't know. Occasionally I like to just let my hair down, you know. It's a good thing. Ugh. Well, heck, man. Whenever I get a donation, I tend to, or at least last time, the person asked me if he could request something to read. Rem, if there's anything that you've been looking to hear my dulcet tones express, I would love to read it right here and right now. It can be something as goofy as a fan fiction to something as serious as Baraska. Whatever you might like. Oh, hang on, can I allow that? Oh, I think it blocked it for everyone else, but I can still click it. Okay. Well, We're reading this now. Should I try to read it in a Peter Griffin accent? Or do you have any particular accent that you might like me to attempt? Just normal. Moot the Griffins. Peter, though big, Lovo blow. Oof, who always saws what on his mind. Lois, the doing mother, who can't figure out why poor baby Ron Coop's trying to kill hot. Though daughter Mag, though Tundromo Kun, who's constantly embarrassed by her family. Chris, though Boofy, 13-year-old, who wouldn't hurt a fly unless if landed on his hot dog. Stereo, unless it landed on his hot dog. Stewie, the maniacal. Oh no, you're old, but unworried domination. And Brion, the Rorkank dog with a wit as dry as the martinis hot drinks. The Aromatod adventurers of this outrageous family will have your hollow family laughing out loud. Thank you. This has been Moot the Griffins. Thank you, Rem. That was beautiful. Tears coming on. Good lord. Moot the Griffins. Ah, dude. Did somebody write this up intentionally like this, or is this something that was found? I gotta know. Yes. Shakespeare found dead in his grave. Hey May, welcome. This was requested by Remdog. Remdog 510. He put in an incredibly generous donation, so I'd asked him what it might be he would like to hear my dulcet tones read aloud, and lo and behold, this was the request. If there's anything else you might want me to read, Rem, just say the word. Man, oh man. Whew. Thank you. Gosh, certainly didn't expect this out of the night, but I couldn't be more pleased. Yeah, man. You're not kidding. A beautiful request. You could say it is lovable. Very lovable. There we go. Oof. Who doing? Oof. Who doing? Who doing right now? Guys, who's doing? Stewie needs to know. Or excuse me, what do they call him again? Stewio. Borast. Old on Icker. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. I'll see you soon, man. This screen gets me. Also, let me see. Is it gonna scroll past right over there? I don't know if it's updated. Did it update? I know it says it in the right corner there at least. There it is. Oh yeah. Rem Dog. $48.66. That's so much, dude. Rem Dog is going hard. Again, is there anything else that you might like me to read? Or would you simply like me to continue on with the night's events? Remdog? Hello? Remdog? Remdog? Hello? Remdog? Rem? Rem? Lol. Well, I guess if there is no request, I'll keep on keeping on. But again, Rem, you just say the word. Thine word is my command. Alrighty. So. Nah. No worries, Rem. I'm glad you liked it. I enjoyed it rather a lot myself. And now, if you didn't hear me earlier, if there's any other requests you might have, say it and it shall be done. Or it shall be read, rather. Otherwise, I was gonna continue on with the night's proceedings. Hey, welcome back, Mobbin. Earlier, we were talking about cheese balls. I want cheese balls. Let me ask Rem and Mobbin, did you guys ever have those, like, giant as heck tubs of just filled to the brim with cheese balls? It's that, like, cheese puff consistency, but in just in a barrel. Legitimate plastic barrel. Oh yeah. That stuff was good. I remember my mom, I think she only bought it once though. But afterwards we got fixated on it and started mentioning it like in place of swear words in hopes that it would bring back the scrumptious cheese balls. True. As a kid though, did I mind? Not at all. The cheesy goodness was worth every sticky gum. Right on. Well, let's go ahead and start the chapter over. So, this is Jersey Paxson and the Kitten's Purse by Rick Riordan. Read by Mary Mitch. 13. We visit the junkyard of the gods. We rode the boar until sunset, which was about as much as my back end could handle. Imagine riding a giant steel brush over a bed of gravel all day. That's about how comfortable boar riding was. I have no idea how many miles we covered, but the mountains faded into the distance and were replaced by miles of flat, dry land. The grass and scrub brush got sparse until we were galloping. Do boars gallop? Across the desert. As night fell, the boar came to a stop at a creek bed and snorted. He started drinking the muddy water, then ripped a saguaro cactus out of the ground and chewed it, needles and all. "This is as far as he'll go," Grover said. "We need to get off while he's eating." Nobody needed convincing. We slipped off the boar's back while he was busy ripping up cacti. Then we waddled away as best we could with our saddle sores. After its third saguaro and another drink of muddy water, the boar squealed and belched, then whirled around and galloped back toward the east. "It likes the mountains better," I guessed. "I can't blame it," Thalia said. "Look." Ahead of us was a 2-lane road half covered with sand. On the other side of the road was a cluster of buildings, too small to be a town. A boarded-up house, a taco shop that looked like it hadn't been open since before Zoe Nightshade was born, and a white stucco post office with a sign that said Gillaclaw, Arizona, hanging crooked above the door. Beyond that was a range of hills. But then I noticed they weren't regular hills. The countryside was way too flat for that. The hills were enormous mounds of old cars, appliances, and other scrap metal. It was a junkyard that seemed to go on forever. "Whoa," I said. "Something tells me we're not going to find a car rental here," Thalia said. She looked over at Grover. "I don't suppose you've got another wild boar up your sleeve?" Grover was sniffing the wind, looking nervous. He fished out his acorns and threw them into the sand, then played his pipes. They rearranged themselves in a pattern that made no sense to me, but Grover looked concerned. "That's us," he said. "Those 5 nuts right there." "Which one's me?" I asked. "The little deformed one," Zoe suggested. "Oh, shut up." "The cluster right there," Grover said, pointing to the left. "That's trouble." "A monster?" Thalia asked. Grover looked uneasy. "I don't smell anything, which doesn't make any sense. But the acorns don't lie. Our next challenge." He pointed straight toward the junkyard. With the sunlight almost gone now, the hills of metal looked like something on an alien planet. We decided to camp for the night and try the junkyard in the morning. None of us wanted to go dumpster diving in the dark. Zoe and Bianca produced 5 sleeping bags and foam mattresses out of their backpacks. I don't know how they did it, because the packs were tiny. But they must have been enchanted to hold so much stuff. I'd noticed their bows and quivers were also magic. I never really thought about it, but when the hunters needed them, they just appeared slung over their backs, and when they didn't, they were gone. The night got chilly fast, so Grover and I collected old boards from ruined houses, and Thalia zapped them with an electric shock to start a campfire. Pretty soon, we were about as comfy as you can get in a rundown ghost town in the middle of nowhere. "The stars are out," Zoe said. She was right. There were millions of them, with no city lights to turn the sky orange. "Amazing," Bianca said. "I've never actually seen the Milky Way." "This is nothing," Zoe said. "In the old days, there were more. Whole constellations have disappeared because of the human light pollution." "You talk like you're not human," I said. Zoe raised an eyebrow. "I am a hunter. I care what happens to the wild places of this world. Can the same be said for thee?" "For you," Thalia corrected. "Not thee." "But you use you for the beginning of a sentence. And for the end," Thalia said. "Not thou, no thee, just you." Zoe threw her hands up in exasperation. "I hate this language. It changes too often." Grover sighed. He was still looking up at the stars, like he was thinking about the light pollution problem. "If only Pan were here. He would set things right." Zoe nodded sadly. "Maybe it was the coffee," Grover said. "I was drinking coffee, and the wind came. Maybe if I drank more coffee..." I was pretty sure coffee had nothing to do with that. With what happened in Cloudcroft. But I didn't have the heart to tell Grover. I thought about the rubber rat and the tiny birds that had suddenly come to life when the wind had blown. "Grover, do you really think that was Pan? I mean, I know you want it to be." "He sent us help," Grover insisted. "I don't know how or why, but it was his presence. After this quest is done, I'm going back to New Mexico and drinking a lot of coffee. It's the best lead we've gotten in 2,000 years. I was so close." I didn't answer. I didn't want to squash Grover's hopes. "What I want to know," Thalia said, looking at Bianca, "is how you destroyed one of the zombies. There are a lot more out there somewhere. We need to figure out how to fight them." Bianca shook her head. "I don't know. I just stabbed it and it went up in flames." "Maybe there's something special about your knife," I said. "It is the same as mine," Zoe said. "Celestial bronze, yes. But mine did not affect the warriors that way." "Maybe you have to hit the skeleton in a certain spot," I said. Bianca looked uncomfortable, with everybody paying attention to her. "Never mind," Zoe told her. "We will find the answer. In the meantime, we should plan our next move. When we get through this junkyard, we must continue west. If we can find a road, we can hitchhike to the nearest city. I think that would be Las Vegas." I was about to protest that Grover and I had bad experiences in that town, but Bianca beat us to it. No, she said. Not there. She looked really freaked out, like she'd just been dropped off the steep end of a roller coaster. Zoe frowned. Why? Bianca took a shaky breath. I think we stayed there for a while. Nico and I, when we were traveling. And then I can't remember. Suddenly, I had a really bad thought. I remember what Bianca had told me about Nico and her staying in a hotel for a while. I met Grover's eyes, and I got the feeling he was thinking the same thing. Bianca, I said, that hotel you stayed at, was it possibly called the Lotus Hotel and Casino? Her eyes widened. How did you know that? Oh, great, I said. Wait, Thalia said. What is the Lotus Casino? A couple of years ago, I said. Grover, Annabeth, and I got trapped there. It's designed so you never want to leave. We stayed for about an hour. When we came out, 5 days had passed. It makes time speed up. No, Bianca said. No, that's not possible. You said somebody came and got you out, I remembered. Yes? What did he look like? What did he say? I don't remember. Please, I don't really want to talk about this. Zoe sat forward, her eyebrows knit with concern. You said that Washington, D.C. had changed when you went back last summer. You didn't remember the subway being there. Yes, but... Bianca, Zoe said, can you tell me the name of the President of the United States right now? Don't be silly, Bianca said. She told us the correct name of the president. And who was the president before that? Zoe asked. Bianca thought for a while. Roosevelt. Zoe swallowed. Theodore or Franklin. Franklin, Bianca said. FDR. Like FDR Drive? I asked. But seriously, that's all I knew about FDR. Bianca, Zoe said, FDR was not the last president. That was about 70 years ago. That's impossible, Bianca said. I'm not that old. She stared at her hands, as if to make sure they weren't wrinkled. Thalia's eyes turned sad. I guess she knew what it was like to get pulled out of time for a while. It's okay, Bianca. The important thing is, you and Nico are safe. You made it out. But how? I said. We were only in there for an hour, and we barely escaped. How could you have escaped after being there for so long? I told you. Bianca looked about ready to cry. A man came and said it was time to leave, and... But who? Why did he do it? Before she could answer, we were hit with a blazing light from down the road. The headlights of a car appeared out of nowhere. I was half hoping it was Apollo, come to give us a ride again. But the engine was way too silent for the sun chariot, and besides, it was nighttime. We grabbed our sleeping bags and got out of the way as a deathly white limousine slid to a stop in front of us. The back door of the limo opened right next to me. Before I could step away, the point of a sword touched my throat. I heard the sound of Zoe and Bianca drawing their bows as the owner of the sword got out of the car. I moved back very slowly. I had to, because he was pushing the point under my chin. He smiled cruelly. "Not so fast now, are you, punk?" He was a big man with a crew cut, a black leather biker's jacket, black jeans, a white muscle shirt, and combat boots. Wraparound shades hid his eyes, but I knew what was behind those glasses. Hollow sockets filled with flames. "Ares," I growled. The war god glanced at my friends. "At ease, people." He snapped his fingers, and their weapons fell to the ground. "This is a friendly meeting." He dug the point of his blade a little further under my chin. "Of course, I'd like to take your head for a trophy, but someone wants to see you, and I never behead my enemies in front of a lady." "What lady?" Thalia asked. Ares looked over at her. Well, well, I heard you were back." He lowered his sword and pushed me away. "Thalia, daughter of Zeus," Ares mused. "You're not hanging out with very good company." "What's your business, Ares?" she said. "Who's in the car?" Ares smiled, enjoying the attention. "Oh, I doubt she wants to meet the rest of you. Particularly not them." He jutted his chin towards Zoe and Bianca. "Why don't you all get some tacos while you wait? Only take Percy a few minutes." "We will not leave him alone. We will not leave him alone with thee, Lord Ares," Zoe said. "Besides," Grover managed, "the taco place is closed." Ares snapped his fingers again. The lights inside the taqueria suddenly blazed to life. The boards flew open. The boards flew off, and the close sign flipped to open. "You were saying, goat boy." "Go on," I told my friends. "I can handle this." I tried to sound more confident than I felt. I don't think Ares was fooled. "You heard the boy," Ares said. "He's big and strong. He's got things under control." My friends reluctantly headed over to the taco restaurant. Ares regarded me with loathing, then opened the limousine door like a chauffeur. "Get inside, punk," he said. "And mind your manners. She's not as forgiving of rudeness as I am." When I saw her, my jaw dropped. I forgot my name. I forgot where I was. I forgot how to speak in complete sentences. She was wearing a red satin dress, and her hair was curled in a cascade of ringlets. Her face was the most beautiful I'd ever seen. Perfect makeup, dazzling eyes, a smile that would have lit up the dark side of the moon. Thinking back on it, I can't tell you who she looked like, or even what color her hair or her eyes were. Pick the most beautiful actress you can think of. The goddess was 10 times more beautiful than that. Pick your favorite hair color, eye color, whatever. The goddess had that. When she smiled at me, just for a moment, she looked a little like Annabeth. Then, like this television actress I used to have a crush on in 5th grade. Then, well, you get the idea. Ah, there you are, Percy, the goddess said. I am Aphrodite. I slipped into the seat across from her and said something like, She smiled. Aren't you sweet? Hold this, please. She handed me a polished mirror the size of a dinner plate and had me hold it up for her. She leaned forward and dabbed at her lipstick, though I couldn't see anything wrong with it. Do you know why you're here? She asked. I wanted to respond. Why couldn't I form complete sentences? She was only a lady. A seriously beautiful lady, with eyes like pools of spring water. Whoa. I pinched my own arm hard. I don't know. I managed. Oh dear, Aphrodite said. Still in denial? Outside the car, I could hear Ares chuckling. I had a feeling he could hear every word we said. The idea of him being out there made me angry, and that helped clear my mind. I don't know what you're talking about, I said. Well then, why are you on this quest? Artemis has been captured. Aphrodite rolled her eyes. Oh, Artemis, please. Talk about a hopeless case. I mean, if they were going to kidnap a goddess, she should be breathtakingly beautiful, don't you think? I pity the poor dears who have to imprison Artemis. Boring. But she was chasing a monster, I protested. A really, really bad monster. We have to find it. Aphrodite made me hold the mirror a little higher. She seemed to have found a microscopic problem at the corner of her eye, and dabbed at her mascara. Always some monster. But my dear Percy, that is why the others are on this quest. I'm more interested in you. My heart pounded. I didn't want to answer, but her eyes drew an answer right out of my mouth. Annabeth is in trouble. Aphrodite beamed. Exactly! I have to help her, I said. I've been having these dreams. Ah, you even dream about her? That is so cute. No, I mean, that's not what I meant. She made a sound. Percy, I'm on your side. I'm the reason you're here, after all. I stared at her. What? The poison t-shirt the Stoll brothers gave Phoebe, she said. Do you think that was an accident? Sending Blackjack to find you? Helping you sneak out of the camp? You did that? Of course! Because really, how boring these hunters are. A quest for some monster, blah, blah, blah. Saving Artemis. Let her stay lost, I say. But a quest for true love. Wait a second, I never said, oh my dear. You don't need to say it. You do know Annabeth was close to joining the hunters, don't you? I blushed. I wasn't sure. She was about to throw her life away. And you, my dear, you can save her from that. It's so romantic. Oh, put the mirror down, Aphrodite ordered. I look fine. I hadn't realized I was still holding it, but as soon as I put it down, I noticed my arms were sore. Now listen, Percy, Aphrodite said. The hunters are your enemies. Forget them, and Artemis and the monster. That's not important. You just concentrate on finding and saving Annabeth. Do you know where she is? Aphrodite waved her hand irritably. No. I leave the details to you. But it's been ages since we've had a good tragic love story. Whoa, first of all, I never said anything about love. And second, what's up with tragic? Love conquers all, Aphrodite promised. Look at Helen and Paris. Did they let anything come between them? Didn't they start the Trojan War and get thousands of people killed? Pfft, that's not the point. Follow your heart. But I don't know where it's going. My heart, I mean. She smiled sympathetically. She really was beautiful. And not just because she had a pretty face or anything. She believed in love so much. It was impossible not to feel giddy when she talked about it. Not knowing is half the fun, Aphrodite said. Exquisitely painful, isn't it? Not being sure who you love and who loves you. Oh, you kids. It's so cute, I'm going to cry. No, I said. Don't do that. Don't worry, she said. I'm not going to let this be easy and boring for you. No, I have some wonderful surprises in store. Anguish, indecision. Oh, you just wait. That's really okay, I told her. Don't go to any trouble. You're so cute. I wish all my daughters could break the heart of a boy as nice as you. Aphrodite's eyes were tearing up. No, you better go. And do be careful in my husband's territory, Percy. Don't take anything. He is awfully fussy about his trinkets and trash. What? I asked. You mean Hephaestus? But the car door opened, and Ares grabbed my shoulder, pulling me out of the car and back into the desert night. My audience with the goddess of love was over. You're lucky, punk. Ares pushed me away from the limo. Be grateful. For what? That we're being so nice. If it was up to me... So why haven't you killed me? I shot back. It was a stupid thing to say to the god of war, but being around him always made me feel angry and reckless. Ares nodded, like I'd finally said something intelligent. I'd love to kill you. Seriously, he said. But see, I got a situation. Word on Olympus is that you might start the biggest war in history. I can't risk messing that up. Besides, Aphrodite thinks you're some kind of soap opera star or something. I kill you, that makes me look bad with her. But don't worry, I haven't forgotten my promise. Someday soon, kid. Real soon. You're going to raise your sword to fight. And you're going to remember the wrath of Ares. I balled my fist. Why wait? I beat you once? How's that ankle healing up? He grinned crookedly. Not bad, punk. But you got nothing on the Master of Taunts. I'll start the fight when I'm good and ready. Until then, get lost. He snapped his fingers, and the world did a 360, spinning in a cloud of red dust. I fell to the ground. When I stood up again, the limousine was gone. The road, the taco restaurant, the whole town of Gilla Claw was gone. My friends and I were standing in the middle of a junkyard. Mountains of scrap metal stretched out in every direction. "What did she want with you?" Bianca asked, once I'd told them about Aphrodite. "Oh, not sure," I lied. "She said to be careful in her husband's junkyard. She said not to pick anything up." Zoe narrowed her eyes. "The goddess of love would not make a special trip to tell thee that. Be careful, Percy. Aphrodite has led many heroes astray." "For once, I agree with Zoe," Thalia said. "You can't trust Aphrodite." Grover was looking at me funny. Being empathetic and all, he could usually read my emotions, and I got the feeling he knew exactly what Aphrodite had talked to me about. "So," I said, anxious to change the subject, "how do we get out of here?" "That way," Zoe said. "That is west." "How can you tell?" In the light of the full moon, I was surprised how well I could see. I was surprised how well I could see her roll her eyes at me. "Ursa Major is in the north," she said, "which means that must be west." She pointed west, then at the northern constellation, which was hard to make out because there were so many other stars. "Oh, yeah," I said. "The bear thing." Zoe looked offended. "Show some respect. It was a fine bear, a worthy opponent." "You act like it was real." "Guys," Grover broke in, "look!" We'd reached the crest of a junk mountain. Piles of metal objects glinted in the moonlight. Broken heads of bronze horses, metal legs from human statues, smashed chariots, tons of shields and swords and other weapons, along with more modern stuff, like cars that gleamed gold and silver, refrigerators, washing machines, and computer monitors. "Whoa," Bianca said. "That stuff, some of it looks like real gold." "It is, or it is," Thalia said grimly. "Like Percy said, don't touch anything. This is the junkyard of the gods." "Junk?" Grover picked up a beautiful crown made of gold, silver, and jewels. It was broken on one side, as if it had been split by an axe. "You call this junk?" He bit off a point and began to chew. "It's delicious." Thalia swatted the crown out of his hand. "I'm serious." "Look," Bianca said. She raced down the hill, tripping over bronze coils and golden plates. She picked up a bow that glowed silver in the moonlight. "A hunter's bow!" She yelped in surprise as the bow began to shrink and became a hair clip shaped like a crescent moon. "It's just like Percy's sword." Zoe's face was grim. "Leave it, Bianca. But it is here for a reason. Anything thrown away in this junkyard must stay in this yard. It is defective or cursed." Bianca reluctantly set the hair clip down. "I don't like this place," Thalia said. She gripped the shaft of her spear. "You think we're going to get attacked by killer refrigerators?" I asked. She gave me a hard look. "So he's right, Percy. Things get thrown away here for a reason. Now come on, let's get across the yard." That's the second time you've agreed with Zoe, I muttered, but Thalia ignored me. We started picking our way through the hills and valleys of junk. The stuff seemed to go on forever, and if it hadn't been for Ursa Major, we would have gotten lost. All the hills pretty much looked the same. I'd like to say we left the stuff alone, but there was too much cool junk not to check out some of it. I found an electric guitar shaped like Apollo's lyre. That was so sweet, I had to pick it up. Grover found a broken tree made out of metal. It had been chopped to pieces, but some of the branches still had golden birds in them, and they whirred around when Grover picked them up, trying to flap their wings. Finally, we saw the edge of the junkyard, about half a mile ahead of us, the lights of the highway stretching through the desert. But between us and the road...
What is that?
Bianca gasped. Ahead of us was a hill much bigger and longer than the others. It was like a metal mesa, the length of a football field and as tall as a goalpost. At one end of the mesa was a row of 10 thick metal columns, wedged tightly together. Bianca frowned.
They look like...
Toes, Grover said. Bianca nodded.
Really large toes.
Zoe and Thalia exchanged nervous looks.
Let's go around, Thalia said. Far around.
But the road is right over there, I protested. Quicker to climb over.
Ping! Ping!
Thalia hefted her spear, and Zoe drew her bow. But then I realized it was only Grover. He had thrown a piece of scrap metal at the toes and hit one, making a deep echo, as if the column were hollow.
Ping! 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 Why did you do that?
Zoe demanded. Grover cringed.
I don't know. I don't like fake feet. Come on.
Thalia looked at me.
Around.
I didn't argue. The toes were starting to freak me out. I mean, who sculpts 10-foot-tall metal toes and sticks them in a junkyard? After several minutes of walking, we finally stepped onto the highway. An abandoned but well-lit stretch of black asphalt.
We made it out,
Zoe said.
Thank the gods.
But apparently the gods didn't want to be thanked. At that moment, I heard a sound like 1,000 trash compactors crushing metal. I whirled around. Behind us, the scrap mountain was boiling, rising up. The 10 toes tilted over, and I realized why they looked like toes. They were toes. The thing that rose up from the metal was a bronze giant in full Greek battle armor. He was impossibly tall, a skyscraper with legs and arms. He gleamed wickedly in the moonlight. He looked down at us, and his face was deformed. The left side was partially melted off. His joints creaked with rust. And across his armored chest, written in thick dust by some giant finger, were the words, "Wash me."
Talos!
Zoe gasped.
Who
Who's Talos? I stuttered. One of Hephaestus's creations, Thalia said. But that can't be the original. It's too small. A prototype, maybe. A defective model. The metal giant didn't like the word defective. He moved one hand to his sword belt and drew his weapon. The sound of it coming out of its sheath was horrible. Metal screeching against metal. The blade was 100 feet long, easy. It looked rusty and dull, but I didn't figure that mattered. Getting hit with that thing would be like getting hit with a battleship. Someone took something, Zoe said. Who took something? She stared accusingly at me. I shook my head. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a thief. She stared. Oh, Bianca didn't say anything. I could swear she looked guilty, but I didn't have much time to think about it, because the giant, defective Talos took one step towards us, closing half the distance and making the ground shake. Run! Grover yelped. Great advice, except that it was hopeless. At a leisurely stroll, this thing could outdistance us easily. We split up, the way we'd done with the Nemean lion. Thalia drew her shield and held it up as she ran down the highway. The giant swung his sword and took out a row of power lines, which exploded in sparks and scattered across Thalia's path. Zoe's arrows whistled toward the creature's face, but shattered harmlessly against the metal. Grover brayed like a baby goat and went climbing up a mountain of metal. Bianca and I ended up next to each other, hiding behind a broken chariot. You took something, I said. That bow? No, she said, but her voice was quivering. Give it back, I said. Throw it down. I didn't take the bow. Besides, it's too late. What did you take? Before she could answer, I heard a massive creaking noise, and a shadow blotted out the sky. Move! I tore down the hill, Bianca right behind me, as the giant's foot smashed a crater in the ground where we'd been hiding. Hey, Talos! Grover yelled, but the monster raised his sword, looking down at Bianca and me. Grover played a quick melody on his pipes. Over at the highway, the downed power lines began to dance. I understood what Grover was doing. A split second before it happened. One of the poles with power lines still attached flew toward Talos and wrapped around his calf. The line sparked and sent a jolt of electricity up the giant's backside. Talos whirled around, creaking and sparking. Grover had bought us a few seconds. Come on, I told Bianca, but she stayed frozen. From her pocket, she brought out a small metal figurine, a statue of a god. It was for Nico. It was the only statue he didn't have. How can you think of mytho-magic at a time like this? I said. There were tears in her eyes. Throw it down, I said. Maybe the giant will leave us alone. She dropped it reluctantly, but nothing happened. The giant kept coming after Grover. It stabbed its sword into a junk hill, missing Grover by a few feet, but scrap metal made an avalanche over him, and then I couldn't see him anymore. No! Thalia yelled. She pointed her spear, and a blue arc of lightning shot out, hitting the monster in his rusty knee, which buckled. The giant collapsed. but immediately started to rise again. It was hard to tell if it could feel anything. There weren't any emotion in its half-melted face, but I got the sense it was about as ticked off as a 20-story tall metal warrior could be. He raised his foot to stomp, and I saw that his sole was treaded like the bottom of a sneaker. There was a hole in his heel, like a large manhole, and there were red words painted around it, which I deciphered only after the foot came down. For maintenance only. "Crazy idea time," I said. Bianca looked at me nervously. Anything. I told her about the maintenance hatch. "There may be a way to control the thing. Switches or something. I'm going to get inside." "How? You'll have to stand under its foot. You'll be crushed." "Distract it," I said. "I'll just have to time it right." Bianca's jaw tightened. "No, I'll go." "You can't. You're new at this. You'll die." "It's my fault the monster came after us," she said. "It's my responsibility." "Here." She picked up the little god statue and pressed it into my hand. "If anything happens, give that to Nico. Tell him I'm sorry." "Bianca, no!" But she wasn't waiting for me. She charged at the monster's left foot. Thalia had its attention for the moment. She'd learned that the giant was big, but slow. If you could stay close to it and not get smashed, you could run around it and stay alive. At least it was working so far. Bianca got right next to the giant's foot, trying to balance herself on the metal scraps that swayed and shifted with his weight. Zoe yelled, "What are you doing?" "Get it to raise its foot," she said. Zoe shot an arrow toward the monster's face, and it flew straight into one nostril. The giant straightened and shook its head. "Hey, junk boy!" I yelled. "Down here!" I ran up to its big toe and stabbed it with Riptide. The magic blade cut a gash in the bronze. Unfortunately, my plan worked. Talos looked down at me and raised his foot to squash me like a bug. I didn't see what Bianca was doing. I had to turn and run. The foot came down about 2 inches behind me, and I was knocked into the air. I hit something hard and sat up, dazed. I'd been thrown into an Olympus Air refrigerator. The monster was about to finish me off, but Grover somehow dug himself out of the junk pile. He played his pipes frantically, and his music sent another power line pole whacking against Talos's thigh. The monster turned. Grover should have run, but he must have been too exhausted from the effort of so much magic. He took 2 steps, fell, and didn't get back up. "Grover!" Thalia and I both ran over to him, but I knew we'd be too late. The monster raised his sword to smash Grover. Then he froze. Talos cocked his head to one side, like he was hearing some strange new music. He started moving his arms and legs in weird ways, doing the funky chicken. He had made a fist and punched himself in the face. "Go, Bianca!" I yelled. Zoe looked horrified. "She is inside?" The monster staggered around, and I realized we were still in danger. Thalia and I grabbed Grover and ran with him toward the highway. Zoe was already ahead of us. She yelled, "How will Bianca get out?" The giant hit itself in the head again and dropped his sword. a shudder ran through my whole body, and he staggered toward the power line. Or a shudder ran through his whole body, and he staggered toward the power line. "Look out!" I yelled, but it was too late. The giant's ankle snared the line, and blue flickers of electricity shot up his body. I hoped the inside was insulated. I had no idea what was going on in there. The giant careened back into the junkyard, and his right hand fell off, landing in the scrap metal with a horrible clang. His left arm came loose too. He was falling apart at the joints. Talos began to run. "Wait!" Zoe yelled. We ran after him, but there was no way we would keep up. Pieces of the robot kept falling off, getting in our way. The giant crumbled from the top down, his head, his chest, and finally, his legs collapsed. When we reached the wreckage, we searched frantically, yelling Bianca's name. We crawled around in the vast hollow pieces of the legs and the head. We searched until the sun started to rise. But no luck. Zoe sat down and wept. I was stunned to see her cry. Thalia yelled in rage and impaled her sword in the giant's smashed face. "We can keep searching," I said. "It's light now. We'll find her." "No, we won't," Grover said miserably. "It happened just as it was supposed to." "What are you talking about?" I demanded. He looked up at me with big, watery eyes. "The prophecy. One shall be lost in the land without rain." Why hadn't I seen it? Why had I let her go instead of me? Here we were, in the desert. Bianca D'Angelo was gone. I didn't know the Iron Giant made a cameo in Percy Jackson. Whoo! Man. That was some good stuff. Thanks everybody for sticking around. Yeah, you said it, Impulse. That was a great chapter. Smited. Damn. It makes it a better new than. What? Alright, let me try to catch up with chat. Oh, there's not too terribly much. Cool. Thank you. It took a lot of effort to not be smited. Yeah, dude. So you guys know, I might have smited one or two people here and there, you know? I just so might have that power. So, you know, don't test me. Just kidding. Dude, Grover is cool as heck. His, honestly, you know, I was talking about how Apollo is one of my favorite voices, but I think out of all of them, Grover might take the cake. There's something about just, I don't know, working that kind of somewhat silly, right, and ridiculous accent into serious moments leads it to feel so impactful. Just really cool. Heck yeah. That was super nice. Also, Bianca, no! No! No, Bianca! I feel like I remember something that makes me less worried about it. That's all I'll say. But but still, she was willing to sacrifice herself. How is Percy gonna break the news to Nico? And will he wait till he gets back to do it? Also, that dang scene with Aphrodite is so good. I mean, it's the truth, right? He's not on this quest for Artemis. That's for dang sure. And I agree wholeheartedly with Artemis. It's adorable. It's freaking cute as heck. He's crossing the country to save the one he loves. Facing immense danger. A gaggle of indestructible zombies in combat boots. A Nemean lion. A giant boar. A dang iron giant. He's facing it all. Just to get back to Annabeth. I don't know, dude. Like, it's this kind of lovey-dovey, sappy stuff. Great acts of romance that I just dig. I dig. You could say I love them. I love the love. Nice. Well, we went, yeah, that chapter was much longer than I'd even originally thought. But it was well worth the read. I'm glad we got to read it. And honest to goodness, we have seven chapters left. We have 7 chapters left in this book. Wild, man. I feel like the thing that I want to do as the as like the incentive or celebration when we finish this series, I'll release the movie review. Right? At the end of the once we're done reading this series, I'll air it live here on Twitch and then post it over to YouTube as like a special event. I think that'd be cool. Oh yeah. I don't know. I just know that we ought to do something special. Hey, I'm glad you stuck around, Rem Dog. That was a killer chapter. Good one to be around for. Dude, also, can I just say how cute Pride Pog is? It's one of my favorite emotes now. Not even gonna lie. Well, guys, we're nearing the end of the stream. Did you guys have a favorite point within the chapters that we read? A specific character that I don't know, you like best of all, or maybe just a specific moment or something like that? Back to back. I love it, Rem and Crample. Moot the Griffins. Moot the Griffins. Heck yeah, dude. I gotta admit, that was a favorite part of mine as well. He's so beautiful. Ain't he? Hey. How is? Oof, who doing? you doing? You loved the breaks. Heck yeah, May. I'm so glad. Yeah, man, breaks are nice. Are you talking about like the actual breaks? Like when I click over to the Be Right Back page? Or are you talking about like these in-between sections where we chat it up and shoot the breeze? Look, I can feed Stewie. Moot the griffins. Please, eat it. It's good for you. He is hungry, ain't he? Wait, I have an idea. Oh, wait. Shoot. Never mind. Sorry. I'll try to get it ready for for a different time. But if I did that, it would affect the little box I'm in now. I might be able to. Hang on. Sorry, bear with me, guys. The screen's gonna go black for a split second. There we go. Whoops, wrong one. No. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Oh yeah. Oh baby. Finally, at long last. Hang on. Nope. Needs to be like 700. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Hey Lois. So guys. Honestly, I should have read Moot the Griffins like this. Good stuff. To be fair, this is not how I thought my night would go. But hey. So, some nights you wind up drinking tea, hitting the hay. Other nights you wind up becoming Peter Griffin. I mean, that's just how it goes. Well, let me see. If I were to choose a favorite part from the book that we read this go around, I would have to say the scene with Ares and Aphrodite. Again, like I said, I'm a sucker for for sappy like romance stuff, and I adore like Aphrodite's character. How she's just like, dude, forget like the actual quest. You're on a mission for love. It honestly reminds me of an old professor I used to have. I remember at the start of the year, he told us, hey guys, so please don't ever be late for our class, or for this class. But if you ever need to go do something for love, if there's ever a moment where you need to not be here because love has spurred you forward to act like for the sake of love, he said it just like that too. Like, it's okay if you miss this class, if it is for the sake of love. If you're trying, like, if you need to just go chase after a girl or something, or after a certain individual or anything like that, do it. Don't let my class keep you from that. Dude, it was honestly, I won't give his last name, but Julian, Professor Julian, if you're out there, dude, well, I love you, dude. I don't know, you made a lasting impact on me. You really did. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if, I doubt Julian would see this, but if he were to come across it at some point, that's what I would want him to know. I mean, what are you talking about? There's nothing silly about what's on screen right now. Comet Dog, what are you talking about? these are real Griffin hours. Let's see if I can do the Lois. Oh yeah. It's real Griffin hours, guys. And since we are like moseying towards the end of the stream here, I do want to make sure I give another big, gigantinormous shout out to Remdog, man. You I don't, to be honest, I was starting to get a little sleepy going into that last chapter, but Moot the Griffins, your donation rejuvenated me in ways I cannot explain. So thank you again, man. And yeah, I pray I did those chapters justice. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well guys. No doubt about it. Homies do support homies. Hi, I'm Peter Griffin saying, homies support homies. So if you're a homie, if you're a homie, homie. Okay, God, I'm devolving into Peter Griffin and Simpson references. I need to cut the stream right now. Okay. Let me as fun as this is, let's jump back to here for a moment. Thank you everybody for being here. We got tomorrow is going to be off for me. I had originally said that with work coming back into the picture, I would not be doing Mondays nor Wednesdays, but since this week and the next my schedule begins at 12:30, I can tend to go at least a little bit later, like to 11 or 12. So I can still do Monday stream, but tomorrow there will be no stream. So we'll have to wait to see what happens, see how our heroes will continue on without one of their members that Percy was just starting to get close to. But we'll have to wait till next week for that. However, we'll be coming back in swinging for Thursday as we go into Chapter 2 of the Lost Sons Archives. I am hoping that I will have the intro theme done by then. I've been working on it hard. I have a little more recording to do. That's actually what I had planned to do after this. And I will try to get at least a little recording in, but it's getting close to bedtime. But yeah. I'm looking forward to Thursday. And I'm grateful that I'll be able to have a break tomorrow. It'll do me good. That's right. Thursday is for D&D. Lost Sons Archives this week, Lancers the next. We alternate between the two. It's good stuff. Kramples will be playing a turtle. A Russian turtle. Who is a very cool guy, right? I certainly think so. Heck yeah. Yeah, you'll hear Mr. Ninja Cat, Cramplesworth, Toko Yu, and 2 other voices that were there last week. In Soviet Russia, we are the turtle. Heck yeah, and it'll be a dang dandy time. Ark has been here, I think a couple times before, but he will most assuredly be here Thursday. And then I don't think Zach has a Twitch account, does he? I'm not entirely sure. If I'm just forgetting, please forgive me. But yeah, it'll be the gaggle of goobers. Why did I extend the O's there? Oh well, the gaggle of goobers. Who will be playing some D&D. It'll be fun. Following that will be Fantasy Friday, and then a weekend of fun. Fantasy Friday and Simp Saturday and Sci-Fi Sunday. I'm so excited for Simp Saturday! Whoo! Because we get to continue Baraska. If you guys are really wanting to catch Saturday's stream, I urge you to go back into the VODs and listen through the first part of Baraska that we read. Because we're doing a continuation. It's the first continuation that we've had in the Simp Saturday series. But I think, I don't know, I've been really loving it. I really want to start being able to give light to some of the more novella-esque stories, as well as the short stories. Or read the first 6 chapters. Yes, yeah. Sorry, either go back to the VOD and hear my dulcet tones blurt out the words, or go and check it out, and get caught up for Saturday. Or if you, I don't know, or if you don't care and you just want to hear my voice, come anyways. Yeah. Heck yeah. So guys, thanks everybody for coming tonight. I know I had a dandy old time. Thank you again, Marvin, for the raid. It does my heart good. I believe I'm gonna try and find somebody for us to raid. In fact, before I go and hit the outro music, let me actually locate someone to raid. Locating raid target. I don't know. I'm up for suggestions as well. None of the folks I follow are on at the moment, except for Joe Cat. But I don't know. I'm in the vein that believes it's, I don't know. It's not all that. It's not all that good a thing to like raid your what am I trying to say? Your mentors, or like the people you look up to, right? Joe Cat is a really cool dude, though. Let me search. See what tag. What are you guys interested in going and seeing? Some Mario Maker, music and performing, just chatting, maybe some Dungeons and Dragons, because we're doing that this upcoming Thursday. Let me check to see what who all is on and doing dungeony things. Pastel. Oh, that looks cute. Man, there's a fair amount of these on here. All live right now. I think I'd like to go check out Pastel, I think. I don't know. That name caught my eye. So, let's do it. Pastel. It's a D&D stream. This is a random stream, so heads up. There might be language. There might be any number of things, but they look to be in the middle of a D&D game, so let's go say hi. And root them on. Let's see. Our message. Is there an M word for raid? Synonym. Raid synonym. There is not. Our raid message will be Mary Griffin or moot the Griffins. We'll do moot the Griffins in honor of Remdog. We're gonna try rating unless anyone has suggestions. We're gonna try rating this this D&D stream. Goes by the name of Pastel. The name caught my eye, and I figured since we're doing D&D on Thursday, the next stream, could go and rate a. Oh snap! Is code on? What? Why am I not? What? Code 2817. By golly, he is. Heck yeah. Sorry, yeah, let's go rate code. Maybe I'll keep the name in mind. I'll keep Pastel in mind. Maybe we'll raid Pastel if they're on after we're done on Thursday. Right on, okay. Cool beans. So, now I can officially start up the little outro theme here. So guys, thank you everybody who showed up. Thanks for listening to my reading and my practice. The thing that I do here that brings me a lot of joy and have a lot of fun with. And thank you Remdog, dude. It means the world to me that you would support me not only with words but also with with dough. The dough for the metal will be put to good use, I promise. And as always, guys, I pray that we can all take the merriment that we created tonight and let it flourish into the morrow. Oh, see you, Cabelli. And yeah, thanks all you guys so much. I'll miss you tomorrow, but I'll see you on Thursday for Lost Sons Archive. Stick around till the end for the raid. And that's all I got. Much love, guys. Bye. Mwah.